Oh.
Let me open the window here, see if we can get a better look at the roses. I'm a little worried about this bush. It's suffering from the powdery mildew.
Is that bad, Bob?
Oh, it can be if you don't treat it. I sprayed it down.
You got a green thumb, Bob.
Well, ultimately, I think nature is in charge.
Yeah.
I gotta mow that lawn pretty quick. It's getting kind of shaggy. Those damn gophers are chewing up the roots of every crabapple tree I plant.
Oh.
I tried drowning them with a hose. That didn't help. I'm not a good enough shot with the .22. I think I'm going to have to pick up some poison.
I couldn't sleep last night, Bob.
Yeah?
My back's been keeping me awake. Oh, God.
Maybe we'll try a little of that meloxicam.
What is that, Bob?
Anti-inflammatory.
Is it a...
Non-narcotic.
Oh, yeah. Good. It was so damn muggy last night.
Yeah, I know. I turned up the air conditioning and shut the windows.
Yeah.
I was at 3.
Thanks, Bob. Oh. Those crickets were so damn loud last night.
Always loud in the summer.
Can't wait till they're quiet.
There's always one left, somewhere in the house.
Yes.
Loud and hiding.
It's like they do it on purpose.
What's that?
Aggravate us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, brother.
I got to go out to the herdman's farm this morning.
Oh? Why is that, Bob?
Gerald has been having some heart irregularities.
You can't go down to the hospital.
It's easier for me to go out there.
Why?
Well, he lost both his legs to diabetes and he's blind.
Oh, yeah.
He's almost deaf.
God.
He doesn't like to leave the farm.
Well, I don't suppose he would.
Since his wife died last winter, she fell down the steps and broke her back.
You told me.
Yeah. He's got a little dog, Herman, a little black and white mutt. He limps around because someone shot him years ago.
Who?
Nobody knows.
How old is he, Bob?
Herman? Oh, he's got to be.
No. Gerald Herdman.
Oh, yeah. He's 100? No, 101.
That makes sense. He wouldn't want to leave.
He doesn't use his wheelchair anymore.
Oh. How does he get around that old house, Bob?
He's got a little red wagon and a series of ropes.
Oh. Oh.
He's able to pull himself from the living room to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the den, where he's got a little mattress for him and Herman.
And he pulls himself?
Oh, he's still got big arms, left over from farming. That's about all that's left. No, he's still got a good appetite, though. He loves his fried chicken and eats a lot of candy.
He needs to go to the retirement home, doesn't he?
He's a stubborn old coot. German. He's lived on that farm, well, for 101 years. He was born out there on the kitchen table. His sister delivered him.
His sister.
She was 12, I believe he told me.
12? Good Lord.
In the middle of a blizzard, 30 below, roads all blocked. He said his dad was off in the war.
Ah. You want some more coffee, Bob?
No, thank you. He raised hogs, and he had a few milk cows, and he planted corn and soybeans and chickens, baled hay. This is before the farms were gobbled up by the corporations. They were small family farms. Did a little auctioneering for a while, too. He was pretty good at that.
Who, Bob?
Gerald Herdman?
Oh, yeah. I used to see him in church with his wife. God, was she ever fat.
She weighed 500 pounds at one point. I removed her gallbladder. That alone weighed 2 pounds. And she lived to be 89.
Well, how could she live that long carrying all that weight?
She was a farm wife. Just kept moving.
I never did talk to her. In all the years, we never talked. And they have the one son. I never talked to him either. 800 people in town. It's hard not to talk to everyone about something at one time or another. For some reason. But I just never...
There's a lot of people here who don't talk too much.
That's what I mean.
I've been in quite a few houses around town for various medical reasons.
And they don't talk to people?
Sometimes not much at all.
It's just the...
I don't take it personally.
Right. You can't really, Bob, can you?
I just try to help them do my job.
Some people talk too much. About the wrong things.
No.
Sheila Olson.
What's that?
She just goes on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
She came over here last week, Tuesday, right after lunch. You'd just gone back to the office. She was selling rosaries for St. Joseph's, so it made me so mad.
Uh-huh.
She knows I don't go to church anymore, and she intentionally comes over here and waves a rosary in my face. I should have told her. I should have.
Well,
people like her are the reason I don't go to St. Joseph's anymore. I should have told her. I should have.
Rena, you
She's
can't...
told the whole town that I was in a mental institution. God damn it. I went to see my sister in Wisconsin.
I know that.
I know you do. But people in town believed her. I know they did. That's why I lost my position as a Democratic chairwoman, Bob.
Well, you'd had it for quite a while.
And I should have kept it. People forget I was on the governor's Human Rights Commission.
I know.
So I just stood there like a frightened child. Well, Sheila blabbed and blabbed and blabbed. Oh, you know the church needs money. We're losing more and more people every year. Poor Father Kivers doesn't know what we're going to do if we keep... Poor Father Kivers? He's a goddamn drunk and a finger-happy fondler. Fuck him! Ow.
Do you know that for sure?
I do know. Yes. I used to go to AA meetings with him, and he'd always manage to put his hands on me while he was talking. I'd seen him do it to other people too, women and men.
That bastard.
My back hurts, Bob.
Still does, huh?
Yes.
Let me see here.
Sheila Olson.
What's that?
Nothing. Thanks, Bob.
We got to be careful.
I know.
It's going to be all right.
Looks like it's going to rain, Bob.
Oh, yeah, getting some pretty decent clouds out there.
There's a purple finch.
Oh, yeah, pretty.
They're so nice. And the yellow ones are so bright. Sometimes when they flicker past the window, I It almost makes me flinch.
Yeah, pretty little things. He worked a lot of noisy machinery for a lot of years.
What back? Who?
Gerald Herdman.
Oh, yeah.
He likes it when I come out to visit him. He brings out his Indian artifact collection. He's quite proud of that.
What is it, Bob?
Things he found out in the field, arrowheads and spear tips and little fire starter stones and some bones that I actually didn't recognize.
Oh,
He even found a skull.
really?
Could be an old Indian skull.
Can you tell?
You'd have to have it analyzed.
You never did?
Nope. He's got it shined up and sitting on the kitchen table.
Oh.
He shaved off the top of the head. He keeps candy in it. Jelly beans and caramels and gum. Still got all its teeth. Looked like a pretty healthy Indian.
Where's that son now? The son? Clayton, isn't it?
He's still out there.
Oh, so he takes care of Gerald.
Gerald takes care of him.
Well, how old is he?
72.
Does he do the farming then?
No, they sold off the land. They just have some chickens and some hogs in the house.
What does he do then, Clayton?
Not much. He feeds the chickens and the hogs.
I thought he moved away.
He killed his wife.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that was 30 years ago.
32. He was in prison for a while and they let him out after 10 years, said he had post-traumatic stress syndrome from Vietnam.
So he's still out there.
Yeah, he lives in an old Greyhound bus in the grove of trees behind the farmhouse. And he collects junk and he piles it in different areas out there, a lot of old rusted stuff. But he keeps it in order. I saw him walking around out there, but I couldn't get him to wave at me.
Oh, God.
Is the medicine working?
A little bit. Bob, not much. I'm sorry, Bob.
What's that?
I just get so worked up when I think about Sheila Olson talking about me.
Let people talk.
They don't talk about you.
Sure they do.
People respect you, Bob.
Not everyone.
Oh, Bob, who talks about you?
Well, Merle Kimball used to.
He was a big stupid ass.
Yeah.
Oh, good Catholic and a racist bastard.
Yeah.
The things he used to say about black people for no reason. He called them the word. And he knew I didn't like it, and I had a daughter who married a black guy, so he liked to torment me.
He was a piece of work, all right.
I'm so proud of you, Bob. That time at the American Legion when we were drinking with him and Rosemary, and he started telling that joke about black people hanging from trees, and he said, what was it he said, Bob, that terrible thing he said?
He said, when is your daughter's husband going to find the right tree?
Terrible.
But then you said, you know, Merle, you are the only N hanging in this room.
I did.
Yeah.
And he stood up to punch me. And you stood up in front of him. And you were so brave, Bob, because he was mean. And he used to beat poor Rosemary and his kids. And I'll never forget this. You took off your glasses and you set them on the table. And you said, Merle, if you want to hit somebody, go ahead and hit me.
Yeah, right.
And what did he say, Bob?
He said, well, I can't hit you. You're my doctor.
I'm so proud of you, Bob. That big fat bastard.
When he disappeared, the whole town was talking about it.
No.
The days went by, then the weeks, and 2 more months.
Most people were glad he was gone. Even Rosemary. He scared everyone.
I had just taken over the job as county coroner. And I got that call from Sheriff Treble's phone.
I didn't like him either.
It was in March, 50 degrees out. First warm day after a long, cold winter.
Yeah.
He was out on patrol, driving down Highway 23 south towards Jasper, and he saw the top of the car just under the water down in Bibbers Creek.
I think Merle got what he deserved.
He'd been out drinking and driving like he did, and he went off the road. It'd been real slippery that night, black ice. Then it snowed like hell, 7 inches, covered up any trace of him.
I felt sorry for those 6 kids. None of them turned out well. They're always in trouble.
They figured when the car hit the water, he got knocked out and then he drowned. But he was still sitting upright in the seat, perfectly natural, preserved by the cold for the most part. Fish had nibbled his ears and his nose, and his eyes were gone. And I don't know how, but his pants were down to his knees.
Well, yeah, he got what he deserved.
You never know what's going to happen.
You don't. Bob.
Huh?
Oh, never mind.
What is it?
My back hurts, but
Yeah?
it's my mind, Bob.
Yeah?
It's been keeping me awake. I have these ruminations, these thoughts that keep coming back.
Well, maybe.
Like Sheila Olson. I'll start thinking about her, and I get madder and madder, and I relive it. And it's like it has a mind of its own. It keeps coming back over and over.
We should maybe try a new antidepressant.
Again, Bob?
There's always new ones.
Sometimes when I'm drinking a glass of water, I can't stop counting every time I swallow. Every time I swallow, I count. It drives me nuts.
We'll try a new antidepressant.
I just get tired of it. It makes me mad. I'm just goddamn tired of it.
It's gonna be all right.
Really, Bob?
It doesn't do any good
To what? Bob, what?
Well, we got to keep our hope.
You don't know what it's like.
I know it's hard on you. I get depressed sometimes.
But I can't tell. Bob, I can't tell with you. Well, how do you deal with it?
Just try to keep busy, working.
It's not fair.
No. Life is not a fair thing. One time, when I was a kid, one winter afternoon, real nice January day, 30 degrees, my Aunt Martha took me and my 2 sisters to this house. We'd never been there before. And there were these 2 brothers, and they lived there alone. And they were about 30. And neither one of them had any arms.
What?
Yeah, nothing from the shoulders down.
So many people in this town missing things.
A lot of farming accidents. But these 2 were twins.
Like that Indian family, the Native American, with the 2 boys, joined at the hip.
These twins were separate, but like I say, they were both born without any arms. Thalidomide babies, they called them.
They used that drug a lot, didn't they?
As a sedative and for morning sickness till they found out what it was capable of.
Poor things.
We sat in the living room, me and my two sisters, Cheryl and Lynn, and my Aunt Martha, and these two 30-year-old brothers, Dick and Don, I believe it was, and they were scooting around on the carpet and bringing us things with their feet.
Their feet.
Just like they were hands, perfectly nimble feet, like hands. And they pushed around a tray and they offered Aunt Martha a cup of tea, and they gave me a hot cocoa and a sugar cookie, same with my sisters. And then they scooted over to a couple of old wooden chairs, hopped up on one of them, pulled out a pack of Pow Mows from his front pocket.
With his foot.
Just like a hand. Packed it against his other foot, tapped out a cigarette, put it in his mouth.
Did the other brother too?
He didn't smoke. But he pulled out a book of matches, tore one out, struck it up.
With his foot.
And lit up his brother's cigarette.
That is amazing.
They were real good-natured guys, too. They did a bunch of excellent bird calls. It sounded like the real thing. Meadowlark, sparrow, robin, chickadee, and red-breasted nuthatch.
Wow.
And they made the most unbelievable, ornate, beautiful doll furniture. Like real little dressers with doors that open, and like a little rocking chair. And it all looked completely authentic, except it was very small. And they gave it all to my sisters, who loved it for their dolls. Those furniture pieces were around our house for years and years. Very strong wood, oak, stained beautifully.
It's almost unbelievable.
Absolutely true.
What happened to Dick and Don?
They died in a house fire.
No.
Yeah. You just never know what's going to happen.
We had a trash burning barrel down at the end of our yard in Wisconsin when I was a kid, down behind an old brick wall. One summer day, it must have been 90 degrees out. God, it was hot and humid. I was about 5. And we were all in the backyard. I think we were having a picnic with the neighbors, the Knutsons. Their son, Rick, was carrying me around. He was in all white. He must have been home on leave. He was a Navy pilot in Vietnam too. But he was playing with me, and I was laughing and happy with him. He carried me all around the yard. We picked apples, and he threw me up in the air and caught me, and I was laughing. And then we were down by the trash burning barrel behind that old brick wall, alone. We were right next to that big burning barrel, and it was hot. I looked down into it, and it was all red with glowing, burning garbage. And then he held me out over the middle of the barrel and dangled me. I tried to grab him to get away from the fire, and he laughed and lowered me and laughed and lowered me. My legs hurt. And he laughed. I finally screamed and he pulled me out and threw me on the ground. And he said, "If you tell anyone, I'll burn you up." And I ran into the field behind our house into the tall grass, and I stayed there until I heard my mother call.
Did you tell her?
I never told anyone until right now. Sheila Olsen.
Look what I found. It's no powdery mildew. Strongest little rose from the bush for the strongest little rose at the table.
Thank you, Bob. Oh, I feel so bad about so many things.
It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be better.
Is it, Bob?
If I have anything to do with it.
I lost my faith, Bob. I wish I had more faith.
You just gotta believe.
In what?
Starting to rain.
Well, a nice little light rain.
Do you want to come with me out to Gerald Herdman's?
I don't know, Bob.
Maybe we can get his son Clayton to wave at us.
Maybe.
And then we'll stop off at the Dairy Queen on the way back. I'll buy you a raspberry parfait. How about that? And then we'll stop at the library and we'll get you some more books.
Yeah. Good. Love you.
Come on. Let's go take a little drive in the country.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you, everybody. I applaud for everybody else. Really, really wonderful. So if I could get everybody else to come back on and do a talk back for a couple minutes. Audience, you guys you have a couple opportunities here. If you add your questions via the Q&A, which is at the bottom of the window, you can certainly raise your hand as well, and I'll do my best to get to you. And that's also included in our YouTube audience. So we have a bunch of people on YouTube. So if you guys want to just type something in, you have a question, just let me know, and I'll repeat it out loud. So really, really wonderful, guys. I'm going to start with the first question, and then we're just going to hand it over. And this question is going to go to Stephen Lilly. Beautiful. I don't know what it was. I had the opportunity to watch it much more today, and I just fell in love with you guys. It was really just so tender and so loving. It was really, really wonderful. So my question is a week later, do you guys, this is an actor question. So do you sleep with the character and go and try to dig a little bit deeper, or what's the process when you go back a second time around?
One would hope. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we'll do strange things like start running lines right before we're about to go to sleep.
Right.
Not always the best time, but maybe it puts it into the dream world in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Sharon, you have your hand up, so I'm assuming Sharon Shane. So I'm going to go right to you. I'm hoping it's not an accident. So Sharon, you're activated. There we go.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I think it was an accident, but now that we're on, I just want to say, I watched this last week, and unfortunately, it's been coming at a time when I have to walk my dog. And I have to walk with my neighbors because there's a lot of coyotes in the neighborhood. So we walk together. So I tried to watch it while I was walking, and I couldn't hear it. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't. So I tuned in again today. Same thing. I'm walking with my dog. I'm so sorry. So what I want to do now is stream it on YouTube, because I can do that.
Yes, you
Right?
can. Yeah, absolutely.
But I had to, because what I got from last week and from this week was just the most beautiful, poetic love story and character story, and just the actors were so unbelievably wonderful. I don't have words. It's the kind of acting we all aspire to. Not to mention the writing. Whoa, you get a script like this and you say, oh, yum, yum, yum. And Peter, I love you. We know each other, what, since the 60s or the 70s? So you're just so wonderful to work with. So I just loved it. It's had so much in it, the love story and having some familiarity with mental depression. It was just so truthful. I can't say enough. So I want to watch it yet again, and probably again.
You
So
will
thank
have that opportunity. So I will. I'll get it up online sometime this weekend. So
you.
thank you, Sharon, for bringing that up.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
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 So yeah, just so everybody knows, and for people who just who just tuned in for the first time, is we do, now that this has gone up twice, we will put it up on our webpage. So there's something called episodes. So you'll see that we're now into season 2. So you'll be able to watch it again and again and again and again and again as often as you like. So and that should go up probably by tomorrow or Sunday. I'm going to read 2 things out loud. Lisa Richards says, you two were so very good. And Peter, your direction is flawless. What incredible stories. Thank you, Lisa Richards. And Kelly Koenig says, I'm so sorry about that damn Sheila Olsen. Beautiful work, all.
Not to mention Merle Kimball.
So Peter, I'm going to ask a similar question to you, and as directors, we keep on whittling. And Joe, you could certainly chime in from the cheap seats back there. So we always whittle. We just keep on whittling and whittling. What did you discover in round 2 that wasn't necessarily in round 1? Like, what did you find?
Well, this is both Steve and I have worked on other material of Joe's. So Joe's writing is so profoundly human and truthful in what Sharon was saying, that it doesn't give its secrets away easily. It's not the conflict. What this particular scene, there's a Homefires 1, this is Homefires 2, there's going to be a Homefires 3, possibly a Homefires 4. Joe is, I think, this is really deeply personal issues that are coming from Joe instinctively and memory, and filling in just as a master dramatist. So the conflict that of Rena character about searching for something that is going to be worth living for is what comes little by little more clearer. It becomes gradually more clear. And what's the baseline? What is the baseline to any scene, where there's a negotiation between two characters for something that matters? In this case, it's for her well-being. He's a doctor. She's his wife. They've had children together. They've had a whole life together. It wasn't always like this. It is now on this day. And so it's how deep redemption can be. Really, that's what it was deeply moving to me today in particular, because when Bob comes to the point where he says, "Do you want to go with me?" The simplicity of that is deceptive. It is powerfully redemptive in a way. Whether it helps Rena in the long run or not, that's not the issue. The issue is, does it help her today? And it's a beautiful run through today from Lily and Steve, are just exquisite. I can never. It's as a director, and I'm sure Joe can chime in. When the performance actually completes the play for me as a director, it's not a question of it being a certain way I want to see it, but when it is completed, full, and it exists, it's deeply satisfying. It's the payoff. It is the payoff. Everything else, reviews, all that other stuff, is completely secondary to that feeling. It's like working on a puzzle for weeks and months and like that, and then the puzzle is finished and you actually see the picture of it.
Right. Joe, do you want to chime in?
Well, I'm just grateful to be in such good company here, from Todd, who created Smartphone Theater. Thank you. And Peter, I always just been totally blown away by Peter's insight and his skill. And these two actors who are just unbelievably great. I mean, I just feel lucky that I'm on this team. This was my favorite run through so far. They've been great every time, but this time they had this kind of humor in it that I just loved, that matched the sadness and the tragedy. I thought it was just great. I was sitting in the bathroom watching it, watching on my iPhone because I had to, and that's another story.
Should we tell that story?
Yeah, I think we should. Why we should explain why everybody's in the same room together.
Take it away, Todd.
Oh, go.
No. You tell it. We're having terrible internet problems in Northwest Altadena where we live. And we've been struggling with it for a couple of days. And finally, we just had to decide to come over to Joe's house to do it here. And we were masked for the first while, but we're not now.
Yeah.
We've been.
Yeah. So that is the one thing that we have no control over. So we can rehearse and set the lights and do as much fun and tricks and everything that we could possibly do within our virtual stage. But if we don't have good, strong internet, then we're sort of dead in the water. And they've been having internet trouble. So there we go. So everybody ran over to Joe's house, party at Joe's house.
The show went on.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course, which is perfect. It worked out so well. So Joe, the fact that you have a comedy background and you have a very specific twist and a very specific take on comedy. When you wrote this, do you set out to write something that's funny, or you're just writing the story and that's the rhythm that you take?
I just start writing and hope that good stuff comes through, and,
Right.
And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And when the funny stuff starts happening, I love it, because I'd like to write tragic comedy, and I know that it's going to be tragic because that's where I'm headed. But I hope that it's funny enough to warrant the tragedy in it, so that there's a good balance. So
Right.
it's that mystical experience. That's why I think I really like writing, is you never know what's going to come through, and some of it's based on my family and my experience, but a lot of it is not, you know. It's a mysterious, it's just exploring the mystery of, you know.
Not to put you in the hot seat, but can you recall any beats that have surprised you? That you know, there's been certain things that have happened that you've been like, wow, that moment really has surprised me.
Yeah, a lot of times with these two, because they are able to play little moments differently all the time. I don't know if I can be specific about which ones, but there have been many that I went, oh, that was such a great way to be in that moment, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, it's always, I don't need to put you on the hot seat. I can tell you that me as an audience, there were things that Stephen Lilly did this time, just the moments that were taken, which I laughed out loud, and or I got sucked in more. So it was just so charming.
I think just the skill to put together what Joe just referenced about where you say so many people, a line like so many people missing things around here on Dick and Don who were born without arms. And the following line about, yeah, there's a lot of farm accident or farm machinery, whatever, and there are other moments like, I'm just picking those two, but they're sufficient. There are other equal moments where the human experience, where humor is a coping mechanism for survival. Without it, you're going to kill yourself. You're going to shoot yourself, or some other form of self-annihilation. So it's a great. It's a skillful. Joe has a special skill for pulling those two together, and I applaud him for it.
Yeah, well, even the moment where you talk about the cigarettes, and then you say, "Oh, no, he doesn't smoke." I mean, that was that's such a beautiful beat. That's such a beautiful beat.
That would be one moment where today I thought that the weird little joke that's there,
yes,
popped.
Yes,
yes. That happened today, and I kind of went, "Oh yeah." In spite of the fact that the irony of it is, which is humorous to me,
I agree with you 100%. It was really funny. I have to tell you that I got a text message from Michael Kavanaugh, who said, he said, "Hey, I can't stick around for the talk back, but I just want you guys to know that I love this piece. This is just such a magical piece. And if you ever need a neighbor, let them know."
Michael Kavanaugh, yes.
Yes. So he had a blast. He had a blast. So I'm going to, we're at 10 of the hour. If anybody else has any questions or comments, please, now is your time. Same thing in YouTube. I have to tell you guys, we had a really nice YouTube audience too, besides this. So, and I'll get the actual numbers when we're done. So everything worked out really, really well. We did, it was a great night across the board. So do any of you guys have any final thoughts? Anything you want to share?
No, just thank you. It's really been a dream, just
thank you.
Wonderful to do this.
Yeah, thanks so much to the whole team for.
Yeah, and thanks to you, Todd, for the level of support that for committing the time to Smartphone Theater. So you're a major player in that, and just really appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Been such a pleasure, and you guys make it so worthwhile. So it's brilliant. Oh, Lisa Richards is going to chime in. So before we say goodbye, so Lisa, you're on.
Okay, I just wanted to say again how moved I was and touched, and how these stories started adding up when all the stories, and finally she told her story, which had been sitting with her. I mean, you think of the priest, and that she didn't ever say it to the priest, but she's saying and so she doesn't believe, but you feel there's some kind of hope once she tells her story. And especially when you're the Rosen Cavalier and bring her the rose afterwards, for the gift for the brave child that she is. Yeah.
It's a beautiful moment. That is a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's great to hear from you.
Indeed.
We have a question from our YouTube audience from Chris Hill. I think it's Chris Hill. He asks, do you miss the live audiences, and how does that affect, since you don't have a live audience, how does that affect your timing?
Steve, why don't you take one?
Well, yeah, Joe has this great hysterical piece that he does every Christmas. A bunch of people do, a bunch of crazy Midwestern people. It's called Bob's
Fabulous
Office
people.
Party, and it's so funny, and so and then I love his comedy, and I've worked on this other piece called Big Brother of his, and it's just so much fun to get the laughs and to sort of know where they kind of come, and this is like film or something, you don't know where it is exactly, but I mean, what a joy to be working on this material about his parents with Lily, my partner, and it's just so much fun. It's so rewarding, and anyway, I don't know if it would work in a theater because it's just at the table. It seems like it's pretty intimate, but yeah, that's tricky though, and I wonder where the laughs are, because I think some of the parts are really, really funny and silly and way out there, like the doctor is worried about whether it was a healthy Indian or not, about the skull. That to me is one of the weirdest, funniest things, but I don't know if I find it funny.
Yeah, that's, it's when you are looking for tone, preview audiences or any audiences instruct you.
Mhm.
And, sometimes, they pull you in a direction that you have to kind of rein it in, but that's the kind of thing that, especially with Joe's writing, the tone is just so precise and precious. Do you know? I mean, it has to be hit just right to get both, to have, I can't do it on this, it goes from high to very, very low, and has great loft that way. It's mystical writing, but it needs to have the humor, otherwise it's just would be depressing.
I have to just agree with everything that Steve and Lily just said. The beauty of having presence in the room is how the audience is hearing the play. Basically, to what extent are they hearing the play? The range that Lily just referenced, and the humor, having sort of broken in as a director on this mix of humor and pain on other playwrights, pursuing the humor, making sure that the humor exists is absolutely essential, because no audience wants to come in and be devastated, willingly be devastated. So, and by the deep undertones of pain or grief that might be in a piece, you have to trick them into it, basically, and the humor is a mechanism to sort of trip them into where they don't want to go. You've sort of lured them into, oh, this is okay, and then all of a sudden, the flip side of it, when the humor stops, the other side rises immediately.
Joe, that's also from Mary Chris.
Oh yeah, Mary Chris. Yeah, hi Mary. Yeah, she is the sister of an old comedian, stand-up comedian roommate of mine, Chris Rain, who was one of the funniest comics I ever knew. And Mary Chris is an actor and performer as well. So hi, Mary.
Fantastic. All right. Well, does anybody have anything else that they would like to share? Anybody in the house? Going once, going twice. All right, then, guys, remember, I'm going to send you a link afterwards so we can do a quick wrap up. And to everybody else out in our big, beautiful world, do you guys have anything else you want to say before I say goodbye?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, guys, you're wonderful. Thank you. So to our big audience, thank you guys for making our first encore, our first Friday encore so successful. We loved having you, and it was really terrific. Remember, we're dark next week, and then the following week is Valentine's weekend, and we're going to do a poetry night. So But the best thing for you guys to do is just keep on checking out smartphonetheater.com. We have our calendar always on the bottom, and that's where you'll get all of our recent information. And remember the tip jar. So don't forget the tip jar. All right, guys. Thank you again for coming out. Enjoy your Friday night. Stay warm, stay dry, stay healthy.
Thanks, Todd.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
soon. Okay. Bye, everybody.